Hi, so today I kind of wanted to talk about something that I've been working on, and it's a great worksheet. However, I've added to it. And this is amazing to work on. And I've worked on it with a couple of people, and it's been really helpful for them. And it's called the Be Do Have formula. But I added a piece to it. I'm going to explain to you why I added a piece to it. And, if you ever want to work with someone on it, you can work with me on it. And if you just want to go do it on your own, you can go do it on your own. But I can tell you right now, working with someone on this is going to help you a lot. Because I've actually worked with people on this and they've gone, wow, this is really, really helpful. And I'm going to also tell you this, it takes some time because you really have to process it and think about it. Because there's more to it than just the worksheet. And I have a solution after the worksheet's done of how to help work through the next steps. But I'm just going to tell you what's on the worksheet. So the worksheet is the Be Do Have method. So I'm going to explain that to you, and I'll explain the other piece that I added, which is kind of all step one. So healthy have, there's a healthy unhave and there's an unhealthy have. So we all want things, but we can't really have that unless we become the person who has that. So I'll use an example. Let's say, now I already have a couple of TED Talks, but let's say I want a TED Talk. And I have to, and let's say I look at like Brene Brown. Everyone knows Brene Brown, or almost everyone knows Brene Brown and knows that Brene Brown had a TED Talk, or Simon Sinek. And I want to have a TED Talk. And I look at like people like Brene Brown. I have to be like her mindset when she did her first TED Talk. I have to be like that, or be like other people who did their TED Talks. I have to be. So that you have to embody that. And then you have to go into do. What do you need to do? I had to fill out some applications. That's the do part. But I had to see myself and be the person, be that confident person on stage, be comfortable, know what I'm wanting to talk about. So those are important things that I had to do. So I also want to talk about unhealthy have. Unhealthy have, and this is going to date me, but I always say this, if you don't date yourself first, who's going to date you? Unhealthy have is like the song by Rick Springfield, Jesse's Girl. You want something else that someone is someone's. You want to take something from someone that is like their girlfriend. That's an unhealthy have. There's plenty of people out there. Healthy haves are dating someone. Healthy haves are, other things around healthy haves are, you might want you might want a car, you might want a house. Unhealthy haves are when they take away from people's autonomy or they hurt people. Those aren't healthy haves. Healthy haves are, they're going to bless you and sometimes they'll bless other people. So now the part that I added to this, super, super important. How do you know how you embody that person or you become that person if you don't know what your blockages are? What if one of your blockages is, well, Brene Brown was just really lucky, or Nicole here was just really lucky to get a TED Talk. I'm not lucky. Or Nicole knew people, or Brene Brown knew people. I don't know anyone. And you start going down these areas. So you start going into, I'm not lucky, they're lucky, and you start looking at that. Well, that's a blockage. So you have to work through that to become that. And it's a shorter period of time if you know what your blockages are to become that, because then you can work through those blockages. And there's techniques that I have to work through those blockages. So that's what I added. And people were like, oh my gosh, that makes complete sense. Now, I don't want to focus on the blockages. So we don't sit and focus on all of them, but we kind of look at what are the blockages that are preventing you from seeing yourself that way. Because we all know what they are, you know. I mean, I just recently joined something, and I'm a little nervous about it because I've seen the caliber of people in there, and I'm like, I'm not to that caliber. But I also know that I need to be there to bring myself to a higher level. So, at this point, that makes me a little nervous. But I also know I'm a go-getter. I also know I work my butt off. And I also know I can move pretty quickly. So, will it all work out? Yeah. I just look at it that way. So, and if it doesn't, then, I've only done 3 months. I can go somewhere else and possibly come back. So, those are the kinds of things that I have to work through in my own life regarding blockages. So, as I'm learning how to be more of what I want to be, I go, okay, then this is something that I may have to work through, and may have to just feel more comfortable about. So, but I just take each step as a time at a time, and I look at that and I go, okay, how do I work through that? How do I work through that anxiety? How do I work through that fear? Because I'm just as equal to these other people as they are to me. They just had maybe a little more experience, maybe some better connections. And I can get there, and I can get there pretty quickly. So that's what I mean. So I have to work through that fear blockage and say, why am I fearful? What am I hearing? What am I doing to create more fear? And then maybe change some of those things. So, like I said, I have techniques that can help with that. And then I can go, okay, I can embody the being. And that's where that works. So on that note, I hope this was helpful for you. This is like where I talk about a lot about vows and narratives, and then dismissing that so you can be the person you want to be, so you can have what you want to have and know what you're supposed to do to have that. On that note, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.